So welcome back to Malware Analysis. I'm J. Lavanya, Assistant Professor of CS Department. So today in this video, we are going to discuss on the topic called Dynamic Behavior Events Analysis using ProcMon and then Autoruns. Okay, so let's see the topics. So first one, so the dynamic behavior event analysis using ProcMon and Autoruns. So what is meant by that? What is ProcMon? So ProcMon is nothing but it is a process monitor. Okay, and it involves like observing a program's behavior in a real time to understand its actions and interactions with the system. So ProcMon monitors the file system, registry, and process activity, while the Autoruns reveals the programs configured to run automatically. So by analyzing the events or uh, describing these kind of registry and process activity, we can analyst can identify the malicious activity, whether it is a file modification or the registry changes or some unauthorized program execution is evolved. Okay, and like what is the dynamic analysis? Like unlike static analysis, it involves running the malware in a controlled environment and observing its behavior. So this approach allows analysts to see how the malware interacts with the system in a real time, revealing its true capabilities as well as the potential impact. Okay. So the next topic. So this is the dynamic analysis cycle. So here, like it has to detect the malicious activity based on like whether some any unwanted threat or some authorized or unauthorized changes has been executed, and then it has to analyze the events like be capturing the data for some suspicious activity, and then monitor the system activity. It uses some ProcMon to track the file and registry and process the changes if it is needed. And last one, identify the auto run. Use the auto run to find the programs to set to run automatically. So this is the dynamic analysis cycle. Okay. And the next topic is that ProcMon for the dynamic analysis. So ProcMon, we all know it is a powerful tool that provides some detailed real-time information about the file system or the registry or the process activity on the Windows system. Okay, and by capturing the events like file creation, modification, registry access, and process execution, this ProcMon, this process monitor, helps to analyze and understand how the malware interacts with the system. Okay, so this is how it will be captured. And ProcMon for dynamic and how it helps is that so by capturing like these creations, if a malware creates a new file, like ProcMon will log this event showing the file name, location, and timestamp. If it modifies a registry key, ProcMon will capture that information as well. So that is the best example of it. Okay. And this ProcMon for dynamic analysis, we have seen in most cases like the dynamic analysis is very better, right? Why we are because it's a powerful tool, and the key aspects, right, of using this ProcMon and dynamic malware analysis is that first one, real-time monitoring. So ProcMon captures the system events as they happen, allowing analysts to see exactly what a suspicious file or the application does while it is running. And comprehensive logging, so it logs the file system access, registry modification, process creation, and network activity, like providing a detailed view of the system's response to the analyzed sample. And filtering for efficiency. So ProcMon, which allows the users to filter the events based on various criteria, example, the process name, file path, or the operation type, to narrow down the analysis and focus on relevant information and identifying the malicious indicators. So, by observing the patterns of system events, analysts can identify the behaviors that are indicative of malware, such as attempts to modify the system files that create the hidden processes or communicate with some suspicious network locations. Okay, and integration with other tools. So that is also one of the key aspects. So here this ProcMon can be used in conjunction with some other analysis tools such as debuggers or network analysis tools to gain a more comprehensive understanding of the malware's behavior. Like example scenario, if you take, say, like imagine a suspicious executed file is suspected of being malware. So by running this file in a controlled environment, that is sandbox, that we'll be seeing about the sandbox in the upcoming videos, and using this ProcMon to monitor its activity and analyze can identify the file modifications. So ProcMon can show if the malware creates, deletes, or modifies any files, which could be a sign of some malicious activity, and track the registry changes. So malware often modifies the registry keys to achieve some persistence or alter the system settings. So ProcMon can log these changes, revealing the malware's intentions and monitor the process creation. So ProcMon can show if the malware launches other processes or potentially indicating the involvement of additional malicious components. Okay, and analyze the network activity. So by monitoring some network connection, so analysts can see if the malware is communicating with a command and control service or attempting to download their additional malicious software. So by analyzing the captured events in ProcMon, analysts can build a profile of the malware's behavior, identify the indicators of compromise that we used to say as a IOC. So this is a like common term which we will see in the upcoming videos. IOC is nothing but indicators of compromise. And ultimately, so this understand how to detect and prevent the further attack. So why we are using this ProcMon, okay? And in GitHub, if you go there and you just search for ProcMon malware analysis filters, right? There you could see some uh, like there will be some posts related to it and how it is monitored by using some filtering concept. Okay, and they have shown some demo over there, like for TCP or UDP send and receive, load image, creating a file, or writing, deleting, as well as renaming a file, or from registering the activities. Okay, and they have some excluded filters like a ProcMon or disposition or the page file. And by using the ProcMon log script also, they have used some partial based script to analyze the process monitor logs. Okay. So by means of that, once a process is created by means of executor, that is executable file, it will be calculating the time as well as the process path through which it is following. Okay, all those stuff will be there. You can just, if you need, you can just go through it. Okay, so this is a basic of ProcMon for dynamic analysis. And next one, Autorun for dynamic analysis. So Autorun, this displays all the programs configured to start automatically when some Windows boots or the user logs in. Okay, the name is predicted like Autorun. Okay, so by examining the Autorun's output, analysts can identify if the malware has added itself to the startup process, which is a common technique for the persistence. Example, if a malware adds a malicious executable to the startup folder, Autoruns will display that entry, allowing analysts to trace its persistence mechanism. Okay, so this is the autorun concept. And apart from autorun, if you're combining the both ProcMon and autorun, ProcMon and Autoruns works together to provide some comprehensive view of the malware's behavior. But after identifying a potential malware components in Autoruns, ProcMon can be used to track their execution and interactions with the system, providing a deeper understanding of their malicious activities. So example, like if a program is listed in Autorun is found to be running, ProcMon can be used to monitor its subsequent actions, revealing its malicious behavior. Okay, and and another more thing is that autorun dynamic analysis also has some key features. Okay, the key features, if you take it had also, first of all, how this works, this autorun. So identifying the autorun entries. So Windows Autorun is a powerful tool that lists all the programs configured to run automatically on a system. So this includes entries in the registry, startup folders, and other locations. And for analyzing for suspicious activity, security professionals analyze these entries like looking for some unknown or unsigned processes, like processes lacking proper digital signature, which can be a red flag, and malicious bypass. So auto-run entries pointing to some suspicious locations on the system can indicate the malware and abnormal behavior, processes that behave erratically or consume some excessive resources should be investigated further. And a dynamic analysis technique also. This ProcMon tool captures the system events like the file access, registry modifications, and network activity. So by running this ProcMon while observing an autorun entry, researchers can see what the program does on the system. And in controlled environment, so dynamic analysis is often performed in a virtual machine or the sandbox to isolate the malware and prevent it from causing some harmful to the main system. And next is that identifying the persistence mechanisms. So malware often uses auto-run entries to ensure it restarts after a system reboot or the user log off. And dynamic analysis helps identify these persistence mechanisms and understand how the malware maintains its presence on the system. So using some auto-run for detection and removal, by analyzing the behavior of autorun entries, security professionals can identify and remove the malware which prevents it from executing automatically, causing the further harm. Okay, and next is that process monitoring, that is key features. So what are the key features we have already discussed, but apart from that we have like real-time monitoring, that is of file system, registry, process, and network activity. And in advanced filtering capabilities to focus on some specific events and process tree. So visualization showing some parent-child relationship. So we have already discussed. So the tree in the form of like that would be some parent-child relationship, and in stack traces for understanding what code triggers some specific operations. Okay, so these are the important key features, and similar to that, and common use cases of it is that first one, malware analysis, which monitors the suspicious process creation, track the file and registry modifications, identify the network connections, and troubleshooting, diagnose the application failures, identify the permission issues, and find the missing DLL, that's dynamic link libraries or the files. And then system optimization, which detects some unnecessary file or the registry access and identify the performance bottleneck. Okay, and analysis workflow is that uh, like we have to get first one like comprehensive view of some auto start locations or verification of some digital signature if you're going through it, and comparison with some known good configurations, and disable some entries management. Okay, and analysis for workflow, like we have to capture the baseline of some normal system activity, and second one, you have to reproduce the issue, what type of issue has been occurred, and you have to execute the suspicious file. And third one, like filtered events to focus on some relevant processes or times. And fourth one, that is analyze the patterns in the file, registry, or the network activity. And the fifth one, we have to correlate the events with the process creation or the termination. Okay. So these are the auto-run features. And before going through the ProcMon and auto-run, what we have learned, right? And I'll just show you something. Like there is an analysis workflow in the auto-run also. Like if you're going through some capture baseline of some known configuration and compare the current state against the baseline and identify the suspicious entries like based on some missing or unknown publisher or unusual file location or hidden entries, and verify the digital signatures and research some unknown entries. Okay, and common auto-start locations. So registry run keys, that is HKLM or HKCU, and scheduled tasks, services, browser helper objects or wing longer notifications, and app in GLL and startup folders. Okay. And there is a combined analysis approach by using some auto-run and ProcMon. Start with the auto-runs to identify the suspicious auto-start entries, and use some ProcMon to monitor the behavior of identified processes and correlate the findings between both the tools, and create filters in ProcMon based on some auto-runs findings, and document changes so before and after the suspicious activity. And what kind of best practices to be followed is that always work from a clean snapshot whenever it is possible, right? And use the filtering to reduce the noise in the ProcMon, the ProcMon features, because the noise may also corrupt the basic pattern, right? And save the logs for comparison as well as for documentation purposes, and research unknown items. We have to use some multiple sources and be cautious with some live malware analysis, and use some isolated environments. And advanced techniques go for some boot logging with some ProcMon for startup issues, and differential analysis comparing before and after states, and combined with other tools like the Process Explorer for deeper analysis, and scripting automation for repetitive analysis tasks. And these tools provides the powerful insights into some system behavior when we are using together, which offers both static, that is auto-run, and dynamic, that is ProcMon, perspective on some system activity. Okay. So these are the basic, like if you're going for ProcMon, registry write to some run key. In auto-run also, we can able to see like it entry appears in the logon tab, persistence is attempted, right? And if you're going for from file return to C underscore them, auto-run will be pointing to them since it's a static, right? And so suspicious dropper or the loader will be just taking off from it. And the ProcMon new service installation auto-run will be entering into the service tab. And this what we have inferred from this is that a service-based persistence. Okay. And next is that in ProcMon, like DLL injection activity in auto-run, entry, under app in DLL, like the code injection will be attempted. Okay. So this is about ProcMon and then but running ProcMon for some behavior analysis, if you take, what are the steps to be followed? First, you have to launch the ProcMon as an administrator, since the dynamic. And second point, the second step, you have to apply the filter to reduce the noise. Example like process name, if it is sample.exe, that you have to include, right? And the third step, you have to go for some start capturing by using some control plus E. And fourth one, we have to run the suspicious sample. And fifth one, file creation, modification, or the deletion process. And next one, like registry key changes or DLL loads or process or thread creation. And sixth step is that stop capturing after a few seconds. And seventh ones, we have to save the log, that is .pml, and analyze the value. Look for some access to some sensitive keys or folders. Unusual file paths, like example, percentage app data or percentage and percentage temp percentage. We can able to save the log over there. And registry changes under like HKCU or the software or the Microsoft, it will be where. And for using some Autoruns for some persistence check, after some sample execution, we have to launch the Autorun as an administrator and wait for it to scan all the entries, right? And we have to focus on categories like logon, schedule the task, services, drivers, app init, explorer, or being log on. Okay. And we have to check the entries, like whether check the publisher, whether it is unknown or unsigned. And you have to check the file path, right? Whether it's a strange directory like percentage temp percentage. If you're going for the run command, if you just give the command like percentage temp percentage, you'll be just checking out all the log files. You have to just tell it at least per month, okay, so that your laptop or the system will be very clear. And the timestamps which will be correlated with some sample execution. And you can disable these kind of suspicious entry or inspect them further by using the right click option. Okay, so this is all about the ProcMon as well as the Autorun. So in this particular video, so we have discussed about a dynamic analysis using process monitoring as well as Autorun. And we have explained how the ProcMon is used for dynamic analysis, and in rare cases, Autorun is used for dynamic analysis, and how it is combined like both ProcMon as well as the Autorun. And what are the dynamic analysis technique like sandbox, hybrid, as well as real-time monitoring. And in process monitoring analysis, we have seen the features and what are the common use cases and analysis workflow. And similar to that, in Autoruns analysis also, we have discussed about the features, common autostat locations or the workflow, okay, and what are the best practices to be followed, and how the ProcMon or Autorun is inferred, right? And how the running of ProcMon is done over the behavior analysis and all those stuff we have seen in this particular video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. So thank you all for watching. We will see you in the next video. Thank you all.